I don't remember being snappy. You said something about
I
my
said
shirt.
your shirt is noisy. And you're like, what do you want me to do?
So is that the truth, or are you just kind of like, my muscles are popping right now?
Oh, Lord.
Which one is it? My noisy shirt, or you're looking at my...
You do look bigger than I. Is that I'm wearing black?
Or my what are you really bothered about?
It's not that.
What are you really bothered about?
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Do the Work podcast. I am your host, AZ Araujo, here with
Carla Araujo.
Carla Araujo. And you know what, Carla, before we start, I got to give it up to our production team here.
Why? Because they put up with our crap?
Yeah, they put up with our crap and pretend everything's okay. Like you and I
know,
are
they
here.
ignore it. And
you and I are here just arguing away. Not even we haven't talked in the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Well, we're on our phones.
Here.
I'm trying to Google something. I'm trying to Google how I married a man that doesn't read minds.
Well,
and I just want to know how this fooled me.
I'm trying to do a Google search right now on how
I'm
like
Googling
women
right now,
aka Carla, is so unreasonable.
How can I walk away from this
situation? And comes in with attitude all the time. And
well,
it's
I'm trying to read how to straighten my relationship, because apparently carrying a cup, if you can't see it, I carry a cup all the time. I love my husband. I thought this was clear enough telling me that I love you.
I'm trying to Google how to keep a marriage together.
I'm trying to Google how to get the hell out of here in this moment right now. I'm going to put this shit down. I'm going to put this down and walk away on you
Big ups to you guys.
Because,
Richard and Brennan, got to give it up to you.
Well, seriously, I'm trying to Google, like, relationship, like, situations, research on, because I've heard that some men can actually read minds, and you're not one of them, according to my Google here.
There's some guys that know how to read minds.
Yeah, they have a specialty. It's something that
is that I don't have to read minds when
all
this comes naturally for me. You know, how to show up powerfully as a husband, as a businessman. That just comes natural to me. I have this like.
So you're perfect.
I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I know how to maneuver through life pretty good.
Well, I want to do this podcast. I said, AZ, let's do a podcast tomorrow about what has been going on this week.
Okay.
So. It's been a little crazy at the house, and I was expecting, my expectations were kind of high this week. And one of them, part of that was I wanted you to read my mind, and you just didn't do a very good job at it.
Well, here's the thing.
So you're falling short.
Well, I think I mentioned that to you. I don't know how to read your mind. I might have said damn mind.
I was going to say, why don't you say the correct word? You said damn mind. I don't know how to read your mind.
I don't know how to read your mind because, you come with these expectations of what you think I should be doing. Like, you wrote me a sweet note, okay? You wrote me a sweet note, made me smile. I was like, I have a great wife. And then you come back later like you were pissed off that I didn't mention anything to you. Like there was an expectation just because you did something nice.
Is there something wrong with that?
Well, if you're only doing it to get rewarded in the end or to be acknowledged, then why even do it?
Well, don't you do the same thing? Don't you do the same thing
I don't think
when
I
you
do.
want a little something at night? Isn't the same thing? Don't work both ways?
I guess,
you don't tell me, you don't cuddle up to me, you don't
say sweet nothings
to me when you know this is leading somewhere.
I guess that I do have. But
it's okay when my expectations are I just want to be acknowledged. If I make you your lunches and write you sweet notes, I want to be acknowledged.
Let's talk about making me lunches to you.
Let's go back to you. At night, you don't cuddle up to me. You don't tell me.
I do have an agenda. Okay.
All right. Well, my agenda is for you.
Touche. All right.
Okay.
That was a good.
There we are.
What'd you think about it all day? What's going on?
No, I did not think about it. I just think that this whole reading of the minds, it can go both ways.
It can.
It's just more targeted on women because.
But that's a seduction dance from our side. Kind of like the wild birds. I was watching something on Nat Geo, and there's these birds that start flapping around everywhere, stop peacocking and stuff. That's just the way I like to do things. It doesn't, it's going to happen. It's supposed to.
My expectations are high. And if I make you lunch all week, which I don't really cook often. And
let's talk about that because you didn't really make me lunch.
I didn't, but I still prepped it.
You packed it.
Okay, well, I packed it.
Okay.
Let's go there. I packed it.
You packed it.
And then I put a little note saying, Buttercup, this is your lunch.
I love you.
And I've done it for 4 days straight. And I figured in maybe the second
I took a picture of it.
Second or third day.
I was going to Instagram it.
Oh, great. Instagram people were going to find out before I, got the thank you.
I forgot.
Just like the other time when you Facebook that video of like your wetsuit. I'm like, could I had seen that before Facebook?
That's right. Well, I figured you're a good follower of mine. You would.
I'm one of your biggest fans.
Okay.
But I missed that note that you put it on your stories about my little Buttercup. So anyway, 3-4 days go by and I'm expecting like acknowledgement of like, wow, she packed my lunch. I put the blender. I write little sweet notes.
Yes.
I didn't get one thank you, one kiss on the forehead.
But that shouldn't you shouldn't hold resentment.
I don't
towards that.
hold resentment. How
I
about
think
so
you
let's
did.
go
You
back
started
to you
giving
at
me
night.
attitude.
Let's go back to you at night then.
What
are your
if I don't
moves
get
at
my
night?
way, if I don't get my way,
You get a little, you get.
if I don't get my
at
way,
night, I'm
I don't hold it against you the next day.
Oh, let's go there.
Let's go there.
Let's go there. At night when you cuddle up and I'm like, I'm a little exhausted today. You don't hold it in the next.
I don't hold it against you the next day.
The next morning you're not a little pissy?
Nope.
You tell the truth. You tell the truth. This is
No,
the
because
truth.
that would be expectations. No, I don't.
Oh,
I don't hold it against you.
You do hold it against me. You're kind of a little snippy the next day because I was a little exhausted the night before. You get a little snippy.
All right. Well, if that's the way you see it, then I mean,
that's the way I see it. So
Okay.
this could go both ways.
well, I just yeah.
Well, anyway, I have to tell you this.
You held it against me. You started treating me a certain way. You started being
let's-
even right now.
let's
You were being
turn
real
this
snappy and it's
If
just
I
like
could ask this crew, I don't remember being snappy. You said something about
I
my
said
shirt.
your shirt is noisy,
Oh,
and you're like,
is it,
what do you want me to do?
So is that the truth, or are you just kind of like my muscles are popping right now?
Oh Lord.
Which one is it? My noisy shirt, or you're looking at my?
You do look bigger than I. Is that I'm wearing black?
Or my what are you really bothered about?
It's not
What
that.
are you really bothered
Trust me.
about? So I want
Did you see how I just hired my seat here?
Yeah, I saw that.
Just the height went up.
I
Why
saw
are you trying to come up on me,
I
dude?
saw that.
Chill.
I'm just saying, you got crazy
Flexing
on me.
and shit.
And I was just writing my little notes about how this is going to go in, the mind reading thing. And
Well,
then
any-
you were like, look at your shirt. And then you said to
I said,
me,
look at your shirt's a little noisy.
and I said, okay, what do you want me to do about it? And then you said, do you have another shirt? And I said, I don't have another shirt.
We have a closet full.
Correct. So let's go back to the mind reading. Why don't you just tell me directly, hey, go change your shirt?
No, well, here's the thing.
I can't read your mind. I'm not going to go out of my way to get up, change my shirt. If that's what you want, why don't you just tell me?
I did tell you, and look what you're wearing.
You didn't tell me to change my shirt. You were snippy. And then so I was just like, okay, well, tell me you want me to change my shirt. And you're like, I don't want to do this with you today. And I'm like, well, let's not do this then. So I just started grabbing my stuff. And you're like, your energy. And I'm like, my energy?
Lord.
I just walked in. And these guys were still fixing things up. So apparently,
Pretending nothing was going
pretending
down
nothing was
over
going
here.
on between us. So, I mean, you made it awkward for them.
I did.
Yes, you did. I don't believe I did anything. I'm just sitting here smiling. I'm just sitting here looking at this noisy shirt, apparently, which I want to know the truth. Is it that? I mean, were we having a bad day today, or was it really my noisy shirt?
I don't know if I felt, yesterday I was very, very loving towards you. This morning, I could have probably done with a little less, Carla, this morning, if you want to be
I
honest.
didn't even talk this morning to you.
I don't know. Something about I don't know. You're giving me this energy.
Okay, cool. Why don't you just say that? Like, hey, why don't you go get dressed in the other bathroom and I'll stay in this one? Why don't you talk instead of just, walking around with an attitude? Why does it have to go one way?
I guess
with
it all
me?
started when you called me. You're like, do you have my phone? I think that's where it kind of triggered me.
Why is it that every single time we go back to the way I talked to you when I called
Well,
you on my
you're not-
iWatch?
is it okay not to
and I
be
said,
sweet?
hey, do you have my phone?
Oh, you said it like that in that tone.
Yes.
Hi.
How do you
baby.
want me to sound to you? Want
Just
me
like
to
that.
baby you?
Yeah, just like
Hey,
how about
babe.
nice? Yes. Thank you. All right.
What the? What?
Perfect. So we had this discussion. I'm gonna go notate that right here.
Huh? What?
Okay, cool.
First
Thanks.
of all, I
Solved.
did not say it in any way, shape, or form. I had said, hey, did you take my phone? And you said, no. I'm like, okay, great.
J-
Same thing.
I had it on
that's
speaker.
that's my story.
Okay.
Your story is that
Well,
you
anyway,
don't get
that
snippy
might
the
have
next
triggered-
day.
that might
Your
have triggered
story
me.
is you don't get snippy the next day.
Okay.
You'd wake up with a smile.
So talk
even
to
though
me.
nothing happened the night before.
So how does this all relate to obviously, there's a certain extent of kidding, but we're very aware of our patterns, right? These same patterns is something so dumb, right? Would create a lot of messes for us in our marriage because it would these little stories will accumulate to something bigger, and then next thing you know we're lashing out at each other. We go through these things every within 5 minutes and we're back out. We're like best of friends. We go on our day, but something as small as expectations would completely just throw us off our game for weeks where we wouldn't talk to each other because we would hold all this resentment, right?
Right.
How do you think we actually overcame all this? Because we do. I mean, we talk about it. We
do.
really
So
do
let's
talk
go.
about
Let's
it.
go back to in all seriousness. Let's go back to the last couple of days.
Okay.
I just had my women event this weekend.
Yeah.
So this past weekend. So normally when I get them, I have these events. I come back and while
You're
I
emotionally drained.
I'm very emotionally drained because I have to sit there in my own stories, and it feels like I'm reliving the moment again by exposing or discussing a lot of my life in these events.
You put your heart and soul to it.
I do and I love what I do. So, but with that comes, of course, having the aftermath of it, which no one sees that. So there was something that was discussed at the last women event, and it was very emotional to me just because I haven't really totally discussed it. It's been said in my book in so many ways in other areas as well, but this was just very one-on-one, very emotional, right? The group was smaller this time, so
small group.
we were getting really deep in our conversation. So it didn't bother me, and you and I discuss this all the time, and we turned it into it's comical now, it's a joke, and we've dealt with it. But comes Monday morning, I wake up with these emotions out of nowhere and just kind of, and I'm still showing up everywhere. So it's not like,
you are.
And
it's,
this
no
is vastly different. That. Right. No one sees that.
Vastly different from your first event. I mean, you like I said, you are emotionally attached to like everyone that attends these meetings, right? Or your events, and it's draining on you. And to recuperate, because when people are the discussions that go on and the breakthroughs that go on, there's that heavy energy, right? There's that dark energy, and then there's that great energy of being able to, break through those stories that have held them back. But it's got to go somewhere, and it's usually to the person that's hosting it, So we expected something, and this is where I want to give you a lot of credit, because the first time you had it, like a lot of people don't know this, but you were emotionally just drained for 4 or 5 days.
Right.
It was tough for you to kind of get into it. You were, it was just intense.
Right.
This time around, you had the same feelings, but you had the capacity to overcome it, and you were keep showing up every single day.
Right.
You didn't shut down. You didn't do any of that. So go back to.
So going back, waking up that morning, it wasn't a trigger, AZ. It really wasn't. It's nothing triggered me anyway. As a matter of fact, I loved you more than anything.
Yeah.
I cuddled up to you.
We did a great job together.
We did, and I love you dearly because you had so much patience, and we had such great conversations in regards to that. So with that comes so much discoveries within myself. I discover so much every time I discover so much. So with the letters, I woke up in that Monday and I made I packed your lunches and wrote you little sweet notes and told whispered in your ear every morning and night how much I love you. I did. Really nice. I cuddled up on you. The reason for that being is because I just couldn't believe to sit there, and I've been the word betrayal came up multiple times actually at the event, and then I've had several messages on my Facebook by women I don't know, and they're reading chapters in my book, and they've asked about regarding betrayal, and did I feel betrayed by you, and one of the reasons why I was leaving the relationship.
Yeah.
And no, I never felt betrayed by you, and that I don't think that ever even came out of my mouth as a betrayal. It was more on my end where, like, man, if anyone betrayed anyone, I feel like that was me. I came in so secretive in all these feelings that I had of who I was. I hid my depression, my anxiety from you. I hid so much from you. If anyone told lies in the beginning of the relationship, is me. So that's kind of what I felt.
So you took responsibility for
I took responsibility
what others would take would blame the other person for.
So when in those 4 days, you came up to me and you were just like, hey, like I'm sorry that I didn't acknowledge those notes. And I looked at you and I said, don't say sorry. It's me that has pushed you away for so many years. And I remember you always waking up and you always said good morning to me, kissed my forehead, hugged on my back. And I was just like, I don't know. I don't feel like I was all there to give you that love back. I was so hateful. And I just couldn't live. I felt like I don't need you. I don't need anyone. That kind of attitude, just because I just came from a different world. And so I pushed you away for so many years. So when you see those sweet notes, I feel like, one, you don't acknowledge them because, well, are you afraid to tell me thank you and kiss me on my forehead by me telling you it's okay, I just did the note because I wanted to? So I've always had that, like, you don't need to tell me thank you. I don't need your kisses and hugs. But then on the other half of me is like, I want you to kiss me and hug me. So why aren't you that mind reader? And you're not supposed to. So anyway, I have like all these emotions in me that are just going like a blender, not knowing what's going on. And the reality is I put a lot of blame on myself the way I used to treat you. And you're there. You're so strong to just stuck by me.
I think it flip-flopped a few times over the years,
Oh, of
right?
course,
It's
of course.
flip-flopped where it was, you were all into the relationship, then I was all in, then we were both out, and
Right.
then I was in, and you were out,
Right.
and you were in, and I was like, forget
So
this.
my emotions came this past week was like, man, are we still really together?
Right.
And that's
It's
what
been heavy.
Right, it has been. So those were all the emotions. I said my emotions were all in a blender. Like from feeling at fault, from feeling guilty, from loving you so much, from being so grateful for you, and just loving you, and then just being in this a moment of like, oh my gosh, are we really still together? Am I still living my life to the fullest in such happiness? I'm doing the things I've always wanted to do, and yet you're by my side. You are my biggest supporter. You were there the 2 days of the event.
Yeah.
So I've had women like, Hazy was listening to this whole thing that you were saying about him.
you
I'm
were-
like,
you were-
because he's so in his power, he
Yeah.
knows that wasn't him.
Well, you were giving some information that not a lot of people know about what we've been through, right? And what I love about what you do is that you can remember every detail of certain situations, and then you put yourself right back in that situation. You almost have the same emotions that you did when it actually happened. So you're able to describe these stories prolifically, right? And there was individuals there that just saw me, and I had no reaction to any of that because my whole take on that is that's not me
Right.
anymore.
And to
Like
me,
what I did, how I showed up,
Right.
how I operated at that point is no longer me. So I cannot take offense to that.
And when I saw you like that, that's normal to me because
Yeah.
we've been through this, right? So it's
yeah.
normal to me to see you like that. But the reaction of the other women were like, he's just sat there. I'm like, because he's so confident. He knows that's not him.
Yeah.
He knows who he is today. That wasn't him back then.
It doesn't
So-
even trigger me.
No, and it doesn't
I think
trigger
a lot
me.
of fights. I think a lot of fights occur because we still are like in other marriages. Not to say that I'm perfect by any means, but what I'm saying is, I think a lot of fights ensue or get really bad because we constantly think that person we used to be is still us today, right?
Right.
So we're still in those same emotions, we're still in the same thought processes, and I've learned to detach from that
Right.
because I've done the work. I've showed up powerfully, and I know the ills of my ways,
Right.
and I know the errors of my
Right.
ways. And for whenever you talk like that, it's like you're talking about an ex-boyfriend or an ex-husband.
Right.
Like to me, it's like,
Right.
F that guy.
Right.
F that guy.
Right.
I don't like him either. I'm on your side because I understand that I've done the work.
Right.
So if there's still fights coming up in the marriage, after 5-10 years, that then either there hasn't been enough growth or we're still attaching to somebody that we're not anymore.
And we've been together for quite some time, AZ. And
Dude,
so
I think we're going, let me see, we met at 20, 19, 20?
No, we met at 19.
Dang. I was just turning 20.
Yep. And
you were 19.
I was 19.
And so that's like 20 years
Yeah.
ago.
So we've been together.
Jeez.
So for me to sit there in the hallway at the house when at that moment, I wasn't emotional. I was just so like great. I'm telling you, it was all my emotions in a blender, and it was just mixing.
So
I
you don't
didn't
know-
where I was. Yeah, I didn't know what to feel.
So
where I was
happy
going.
and angry
I didn't.
and-
I just love and appreciate you so much. In the sense that you've allowed, without questioning me, without thinking it's on you,
Oh, no,
or
it's not on me, yeah.
right. But most men react like trying to fix a problem.
Or like, don't say that part of our marriage.
Right.
Or hide this. Like, you can say all this. And I used to be like that. I used to try to control how you portrayed our relationship, right? Oh, you can't say that. Don't say this. Now I'm like, hey, dude, like, if you want to say it, then say it
Right.
because it is through your own experience, through your own eyes. So you have your own story and
Right.
I have mine. You always say that.
Yep.
And we can't take offense to what the other person is thinking
Right.
or saying. So if you say I'm not happy, then that's the truth. I can't try to convince you, well, you should be happy. It's not my place to do that. You
Right.
know, it is your place to be like, okay, I need to do things to make me happy, whether in the relationship or outside of the
and
relationship.
I want to bring that up, and that's where the emotion came mainly because I couldn't believe that who I am today wasn't who I was in the marriage years back, right? So you had to go through a lot with me, and yesterday I had a podcast on Badass Agents with Craig Morton,
Yeah.
and he said something. There's something about women that don't show up powerful, that show up weak. And that he said it in so much. There's something that about women that just are not in their power. In so many words,
Okay.
he said it. You can go back and watch that. But that was me in the hallway 4 days ago when I felt like that. Like that's how I was showing up in our marriage. I felt like I was always just weakened by my depression and my anxiety and all these things. So I felt like I was bringing all that weakness in our relationship. I wasn't in my power in this relationship many, many years. I allowed you to control me, which had nothing to do with you. It had to do all with me. And all you wanted me to do was, you were just coming in the relationship being you.
Yeah.
All I wanted to be is like, you like me. You
Right.
love me. Hey, I want you to love me. I want you to like me. I never want to be disrespectful. So I kept quiet for so many years until one day I stepped into my power, and it was just like, and I got so angry. So
Right.
my past and all my anger just gave me the courage that I needed to continue on living this life. But I still had to go back and start digging deep. And okay, I got the courage. I'm going to keep going forward. I can't look back on the feelings that I've hurt. And that's where I was at. I started to look back in those 4 days like, I've hurt you so bad and I'm so sorry. But I had to come out with all this anger to give me the courage to stand up for myself.
Oh, so that's why you started like, do you think there was overcompensating there and you trying to just write these notes and everything like that? Or do you think it had anything to do with that?
What do you mean?
Like you started writing, not that you don't do a lot for me, right? You do so much nice things, but you started writing all these notes the day after the event.
Right. So the day after the event, my emotion, and that's what I said at the beginning, my emotion was completely different. And I don't know if you noticed that. But again, I appreciate you because you didn't call it out. You didn't say anything. You kind of just let me be. You took advantage of those 4 days of me being sweet to you.
Yeah.
But
you're being very sweet.
I was being very sweet. So it did have a lot to do with that. Just the guilt of being like, man, I hurt him.
Yeah.
I hurt him bad. And so when I was asked, were you leaving because you felt, AZ had, what was the word? Betrayed. And I'm like, no, that's far. If that's what you're reading into in the book, it could mean multiple things in my stories. Because there are different quotes and stories in my book and chapters that you're like, what is she talking about? What does it mean to you? Because to me, you did not betray me, and I don't think I've ever said that. Never said that word, and if I did, it came out wrong because I never felt that way. I felt like I betrayed you. I came in with a bunch of lies because you thought I was this woman you married, comes out to like, dang, this woman has a lot going on emotionally. And that just started coming out, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
And how long have we been together?
Yeah.
Yeah,
20 years and 5 years.
And I felt like I was in a box in this relationship. And I became so powerful that I was able to blow up that box and come out. And when I came out, it was not cute.
Yeah.
It was not pretty in this relationship. And you stood by.
Yeah.
Without you stood your ground too as a man. You didn't allow me to come down and beat you down.
No, absolutely
And I appreciate that about you because I can't say that enough to men. Don't ever allow that for a woman to come. But men are willing to take that kind of beating emotionally, right? Because they're just like,
they just feel guilt.
They feel
guilty of and they don't want to lose their spouse. And I've seen those changes, but they almost kind of give up their entire power to try to please the other person at that point. And it happens the other way around as well. But that happens often. But as men, I think we're supposed to go out and continue to go hunt the buffalo, right? And provide and be able to lead the family in a powerful way. It never means to like subdue yourself. If you have a powerful wife, which I do, holy crap, I do. It's not to I guess to play at a lower level just because you are powerful. My job is to continue to lead this family. You are a powerful being, but I still need to continue to level up to lead this family. And you've done that in me. And I think there's a lot of regression in relationships when, comfort comes along or
right.
You don't want to have the crucial conversations. You don't want to talk about what's really going on.
Right. And
that's what we're used to. I mean, just earlier today we were we were kind of bickering back and forth, but we understand why we're doing this. It has nothing to do with you. And that whatever you're frustrated about may or may not have to do anything with me. But for the most part, there's always an underlying factor of why we're triggered. And oftentimes it's not just because of the other person.
Right.
There's pressures at work. There's something that someone said. There's, things that, pop up from our past. So we just lash out based on what we were thinking prior. Because if I was in a good mood about certain things that happened in my past, I'd probably be like, oh, this is no big deal. But because I was stuck in something else or a thought or a problem that I already felt anger or resentment, I lashed out at you.
Right.
And that's why we had this little bicker back and forth, and these guys ignored it. Great job. But it's amazing. But this is what it takes to have a functional relationship.
Right.
Is to know your own behaviors, not the other person.
Right.
And I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that, how far we've come when we thought that there was no going back to good. And we didn't go back to good. We've done amazing things to make this work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we never had the thought process, at least once we learned about going back how things used to be.
Right.
That would be considered regression, right?
Right.
We want to get things better.
Yep.
So it was amazing insights that you had over the event, Carla. I just sat back and I told you this. I sat back and I was just in awe. I was like a student as well with all the other people in there. I was an absolute student, and I was just like, holy cow, this woman is gifted, because the insights you bring make this relationship better, but you're also leading the charge for other women to fully embrace their power and their strength.
The Friday consisted of pure fitness and a lot of pain.
The breakdown,
And it was just a lot of pain on Friday that we went through. And somebody was asking me, is this always going to be your events on one day that's going to be, and bring the events?
It's not just that. There's a lot of mental breakdowns too,
right.
Emotional, physical. So it's not just physical.
Right. It's not, of course not. But I'm going somewhere with this. And so I was asked that question over the week, is this going to be like this?
The format.
The format of it, right, the 2-day event. And it might or might not be, but that's who I am. And again, a lot of that, when I first started, all this, it was because a lot of anger was put into the gym growing up. Mm-hmm. And that gave me the courage to do what I needed to do, and take on the journey that I needed to be on, without the fear.
Right.
So I needed all that. So I bring so much to that, in the event, to find out what is stopping you from, living a happier life. Mm-hmm. So there's always moments in the event that it's kind of like you find yourself asking yourself this question that's like, oh my gosh, this is how I've been showing up.
Yeah.
Why have I been showing up this way? So that one day was just, the full day on Friday was just like number one breakthroughs that no one even knew that things were hidden so deep, because it's just emotion of I dig so deep, and it's kind of like, now we're starting to talk on Friday where it's like, okay, now you find the courage to want to go after what you want. But we need to go really deep to get that anger. Like, women are not loud. We're not loud. We're quiet, hidden. Everyone, we want everyone to like us. And that's nearly impossible. So it's...
I think it goes back to what you were saying. It's you said you were showing up a different way for 15 years, right, in the relationship. And I think a lot of people that went through the experience, and people in their marriage right now, nothing's changing, is because they're still, maybe posturing and not coming out fully, and that resentment's not towards the other individual. It's the resentments that you've been holding back, that specific person's been holding back.
And so,
the point of your whole experience or evolutions is because you want them to understand their own functions, their own behaviors,
right. So
as opposed to blaming.
Going back to that one day was the breakthrough of it all, of like, let's bring out this story that you've hidden for so long. So I don't want to talk too much about the event, but there was a moment where it's like all these stories started coming out by individuals, and they're like, and it's like, okay, stay there. And they're angry, and it's like, stay there. Let's keep you there. But when you get there, people are like, you might want to put that away, because everyone's going to judge you. No one is going to like you. Yeah. And at this event, it's like, I want this anger and this pain to come out. Okay, stay there. I got 2 days with you. Stay there. And that gives you the courage, and you start to ask yourself these better questions like, no one's ever told me to stay there. Right. I'm telling you, stay there. And that's why you are mine for 2 full days. Stay there. So you start to ask yourself and dissect these questions that have been hidden for so long. Because as women, it's like the moment you start to scream, and my events are like loud, it starts to be like, okay, well, let's hide that again.
Yeah.
So anyway, going back to my 4 days of the emotional part of it, I've learned so much about myself.
Yeah.
And so, the expectations of you reading my mind should have been there, and it wasn't. And it wasn't about you reading my mind. It was just more my emotions in a blender, and feeling the guilt of treating you so badly for so many years, and then being asked on the betrayal question. It's like, no, only if you really knew the truth behind that. But again, you could only say so much. And so anyway, yeah.
No, so it's I would challenge those that, follow us, that listen to our podcast. I think it's real easy just to blame the other person for our unhappiness. And I think that if we just start taking ownership of how we're showing up, as individuals into the relationship and the expectations of others, and minimize the expectations of others and do things because you want to do it. I think that that's the path that we took to really appreciate each other. Is I had to put myself first and you had to put yourself first. And that's what it's all about.
So going to my love notes that I was writing you, it's out of guilt. Just to let you know, I'm over it. This morning you woke up to no note. You're like, you said, where's my note? And I'm like, well, I don't feel guilty anymore. I'm over it.
Yeah, you put up a high standard and let me down.
You did, and this is what I love about this podcast. You didn't know the truth until right now at this very moment. Because this morning you woke up and you said, "Where's my note? Where's my note?" And I said, "I'll see you at the office. Love you. Bye." And so I said last night, let's do a podcast because I wanted to bring this to your attention. And I think that when I have these, these moments, I like to bring it live just to show, like, hey, we're human. Yeah. And we have normal.
There's a real human factor.
Yeah, this is real human factor. And it's just like you said, where's my note? And I was like, I'll see you at the office. Love you. Bye. Yep. And then so I'm here to tell you, those notes are literally out of guilt of me feeling bad for so many years. I accept it. Yeah.
I like the benefit of it. So keep feeling guilty because I'm really benefiting.
I know. And when I have another moment, yeah, I'm going to do it.
It's not just the notes. It's not just the notes.
Oh, no. I deliver.
You hook
Yeah,
it
I
up.
know. I deliver. Deliver. I'm good at that.
So again, thank you for joining us for another episode of Do the Work podcast. And we discuss everything here, Carla. Love, marriage, business, and of course, empowerment. If you haven't subscribed, rated, or reviewed, please do so. Go to Do the Work podcast and do that. Whether you like it or hate it, we just need some feedback. So please do that. So until next time, thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you
soon. Bye.